All right, perfect. So we are here live. Maybe just blast out a quick message to make sure everybody knows that we are going to do this. All right, there we go. So if you guys can see my chart, you can obviously see we're looking at. I'll be honest. I'm so surprised this didn't get tagged, and then I think when price started to retrace, I thought maybe there'd be like a drawn liquidity play, but I feel like I got to just stick to what works for me, and that's reversals. And I did mention how drawn liquidity plays have never been my forte. For some reason, they just never work out for me, unless even when I'm paper trading them, they don't seem to be working. But yeah, it didn't even end up working this time around. So I'm just like, stay in your lane. Stay in your lane, Kira. Stay in your lane. Just play the reversals off the higher time frame levels that we know work. And if it doesn't hit. You know what I'm saying? Just wait. So that's kind of what I'm doing now is I'm just going to look to see what happens here at these levels. So I got alerts set. I'm going to see what happens. Just want to see one other thing quickly. Just bear with me for a sec. Sorry, hang 10. All right. Just make sure I got my charts, some other stuff set up here. Yeah, if you guys all have questions and stuff like that, feel free to drop it in the chat like always. Tracy, what's going on? Ashley says, honestly, using IRL, ERL for a bias and pairing it with daily profiles has been amazing. That's great. IRL, ERL, IRL, that concept is like foundational in my opinion. I think it's something we all should be learning and getting better at identifying. And once again, you're never going to be perfect. Like, I can't tell you how many times if you go through my hard time frame bias channel where I was using a lot of that ERL, IRL stuff, like I didn't get it right all the time. It doesn't always work, but it's good practice to understand how to read that hard time frame. But as you notice, like I'm slowly shifting into the daily narrative now because I think it better suits how I trade. And the reason being is that I don't really need to know what the H4 is doing when I trade because I'm trading on the 1 minute to 3 minute. And as you guys know, like I'm only using the daily EQ to form my bias, right? So I find having the daily narrative to be more suitable, more beneficial for me because now when I look at the chart and, I'll just show it to you like this. Here, why don't we start with this? So like this morning during, where are we here? Oh, let me bring this over. One sec. Okay, there we are. And by the way, Grand Theft Auto is never coming out. I think pigs are going to fly before that game ever comes out, even though I really want it to come out. But I digress. Higher time frame bias, if you notice, so this morning for NQ, this is what I had. London is ranging. Asia has swept the high and the low of Asia. That tells us search and destroy, meaning we're looking to trade the extremes of the range back to median, right? If you go back to the chart now and just kind of observe what happened at the open of New York, we swept the extreme of the range and we moved back to median. Picture perfect. So you can see how forming that kind of daily narrative works much better in the way how I'm trading. And this is why I'm kind of making that shift. And once again, I'm not going to get it right all the time. I'm kind of relearning the approach. Many years ago when I was trading Forex, that's kind of when I was learning more about this stuff, but it didn't make sense. It didn't sit or sink in like that knowledge. Whereas now it like really makes a lot more sense. Just given, like I said, the nature of how I'm trading, the style I'm trading, and then also with ICT concepts, like it just blends very, very well. So, just looking at the chat. So Zanny says, I was doing well till I stopped using my system and then just went gambling. So, I like pose a question to you guys and I'll, even to you, like what do you think causes yourself to like flip that switch and start heading towards a road of self-destruction? Because for all of us, it might be different. Maybe there's some sort of connection between all of us too at the same time. Like, what is it that where you can't, like, it's almost like, I should not be doing this. I should just shut everything down, but you don't. And then you just self-destruct. I'm curious to know, like, what do you guys, like, what goes on through your head when that switch happens? I can also share what happens to me. Slick, trading is not my main source of income. No. I have a full-time job too, just so you know. So Bobby says impatience, FOMO. Bala says the evil brain. Let's recover the loss. United says money. Okay, so that probably relates more to like greed, right? Maybe some FOMO. Don, what's up, brother? Impatience for him. Xanu says, for me, was been halfway to the target. I was $580 profit and one loss. Make me feel like I was losing my progress. Then I just entered into recovery mode. So I think often when the most starting point concept is you're trying to pass a funded account and you need, let's say it's a $50K and you need $3,000, right? So let's say you get to like $2,800 and it's Friday and you're thinking, I only need $200 more and I've passed. Right? So then you start forcing trades, thinking you can just get that extra 200 and you'll pass by Friday. So then on Monday, you're going to have a funded account, right? But guess what happens? You don't end up passing that account, right? And that comes down to greed. That comes down to rushing a process. And, like it was just said earlier, money, right? Like we can't look at trading in a financial way that way, right? Like we know there's money involved and blah, blah, blah. But what I'm saying is when you're trading, you're actually executing. The only thing you should be worrying about is like, am I executing my system in an A+ way? That's it. That's all you should be doing. And then letting that probability play out. I've found personally when I stop thinking about the money side of it, even like passing accounts or like, getting X amount of money to get to, 5 days or whatever, whatever the case may be, it's like when I start thinking of it from the financial or the monetary perspective, that's when things start to go really wrong for me personally. So I would assume it's probably the same for some of you as well, if not all of you. So Trish says, I'm triggered when the market is acting wonky with price action. A loss at the start then moves in my direction. Revenge, FOMO. Yeah, of course, it's really hard to take a loss right out the gate. And then that's when all those other things, like those negative characteristics and emotions and things like that, start to play a role in our decision making. So I think it's still important to fall back on our rules or remind ourselves. And I know it's easier said than done, but this is what I was saying. Like we have to find ways individually to create systems to protect ourselves from ourselves, right? Don says, didn't even know that, but after having AI as my journal platform, he told me that I'm having problems with impatience. What I love about what you just said there is that you're journaling. And that journaling is what has helped unlock things. And I know a lot of you have been listening to me for a while now, and I always keep talking about journaling and how I talk about it's important to review your journal because that's where the keys start to get unlocked for you, right? Those secrets, those things that will help elevate your trading IQ, your trading growth, your trading personality will change because you're going back looking at what works and what didn't work. Are there patterns? And working with AI is such an amazing idea because AI has a way of filtering information out of your spreadsheet in a way that maybe your mind doesn't think to extract that information in that way or explain it to you in that way. And sometimes having someone to talk to in that case can also open up the doors to allowing you to, just really face those truths that maybe you're not facing, right? So good job, man. Slick, I was wondering because I also have a full-time job and a lot of time things come up which distract me from trading when I can. To answer your question, impatience is the biggest thing. Yeah, I mean, it sounds like everyone's has that impatience, right? And it goes to show because like we all want money. Like we're all trying to get to payouts and stuff like that, and ultimately you can't rush this process, right? There's elements of this that you can rush, but there's some elements you just shouldn't rush, even though you probably could. You should just not do it, and it's from a risk management perspective. And then going back to the job perspective, you know, like we all have different situations, right? And you know, for me personally, and I've said this a while ago, but like I'll say it again, like there was a time where I had a really busy job. I had a pretty good role where I worked, and I was responsible for a lot. So I had a lot of responsibility on my plate, of course. So, but the problem with that is there's no way I could have even traded if I had that job. And I actually took a demotion at my job so I could trade. And the reason I did is because I knew that I can make like my monthly wage in like one day. And like to be able to think of it in those terms, it was just like, it's a no-brainer. Like I have to go for this. So I took a demotion, kept all of my health benefits. You know, obviously I got a family, so I got to be smart. And, you know, using the concepts of multiple streams of income, I had to take that demotion in order to make this work, right? And that's just my situation, right? Everyone's situation is different. But I think the key to this is, and we were talking about this earlier in the Gen Chat, is about having less distractions. Like you can't trade and be distracted. So if trading New York is not, like you're not able to trade New York 100% with full attention, or maybe there's only moments where you can do that, well, I think you got to rethink that approach, right? Maybe you might want to trade the PM session. Maybe you want to trade Asia session. Maybe you want to trade London session. Granted, each session can increase or decrease the probabilities of a trade setup, but at least you are able to give your full attention to the market for X amount of time, right? So if it's London, 2 to 5 a.m. Eastern time. If it's New York PM, we're looking at 1:30 to 4. And remember, you just need one win, one base hit, and that's it. That's all you got to do. Okay? And I know it sounds easier said than done, but you have to like think of it that easy. Otherwise, it will never be easy, right? If you think of it like, you know, if there's a massive mountain you got to climb, then of course, yeah, you're going to look at that and you're going to shit your pants. But if you're like, no, I got this, I can do this. I just need one trade. I just need one win. I know exactly what I'm looking for. Have the confidence, you know, have that visualization in your mind of like what it is that you exactly want to see. Like, for example, if we look at the chart, I know I've been rambling a bit here, but if we look at the chart, what I want to see is one of these buy-side liquidity levels gets swept. And then I want to see a nice clean reaction with strong momentum on a IFVG that's sized applicably. And if there's SMT, that is icing on the cake. And I want to take that down for 1 hour. That's it. That's all I want to do. That's all I want to see. But until that happens, I have to sit on my hands. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, and I mean, Zanny, you know, if you have another account and you're afraid of doing the same thing, like, you can't trade with fear, right? And I often share that, you know, funny meme with that wrestler Penta, and he always says, no fear, right? Cero miedo, right? Like, I love that because, and I kind of send it as a joke, but it's also more of like a reminder and a celebration of like, you know, remembering that you can't trade with fear, right? You cannot trade with fear. You have to trade with full confidence, right? Have full confidence in yourself. If you are lacking any of that, you should not be pushing any button, or you should not be risking any money. Maybe just do paper trading. Maybe trade an eval, but don't risk anything that's like valuable to you if you're feeling afraid. The key is you got to work through that fear, and that only comes through experience and, you know, just stacking wins, and then that giving you the confidence and the belief that that you know you can do this. You know what I mean? And I know, Xanu, you can do this because I've seen your trades. I mean, you've taken some amazing trades. Like I've seen the stuff you've shared. Like you're taking trades that I wouldn't take, and you're winning, and that's great because it's showing independence, right? So you can do it. I know you can do it. I think just maybe come back to figuring out the foundation of what made you successful. Go back to your journal, see what made you, like review the trades that were A plus, you know, and then what happens is subconsciously you start to have a shift because you're gonna like remember A plus versus what wasn't A plus. You're gonna remember what a mistake looked like versus what, you know, like what a mistake could have looked like, but you were able to like mitigate that and avoid it, right? So for me, a great example would be when we look at setups that are singular versus non-singular. That was one of the biggest problems I had, was I kept forcing trades that were non-singular, right? So this is why I always talk about singular versus non-singular, because just me eliminating those types of setups has taken away so many losses off of my journal, right? Trace says, so I sat out a lot of trades this week because I was having a hard time reading price action, green, but lost confidence. Yeah, just there's always another trade around the corner. You're like, do not ever feel FOMO. Like, I mean, you're going to feel FOMO, but what I'm saying is don't ever let it get the best of you, right? There's always another day to trade. There's always another trade around the corner. And I always say this too, right? Like, we're never going to catch every single trade, right? Like this morning, I caught that short. I called out the long, but I didn't take the long. And the long was amazing. It was a great trade. It was textbook, but I didn't take it. And I'm okay with that. You know what I mean? Because I know I had a good read on it. And that alone, the read is what gives me confidence to know that what I'm doing is working. Even if I don't take the trade, it's working. So I've done that exactly that and end up losing the trade and revenge trading and increased the contract size and going from almost passing to blowing the account within an hour. And, you know, the thing, too, is when we start to deviate from our plan of increasing contract sizes and we're doing it in a way that's not part of the plan, now you're deviating from your plan. You're deviating from what made you successful, right? And if you are lucky enough to make it through and catch a W, you should be very, very grateful that you did, because it could have easily gone the other way, like you said, right? Could have gone from passing to blowing within an hour. Vic says, for me, it's being wrong. I've worked so hard at perfecting my craft, say it be welding, so much time and effort being spent that I believe that's how mastering the market can be when it's all just probabilities. You know, the other thing I also talk about is, as a trader, you're never going to be perfect. And I'm going to reference that book. You know, I posted it in Trading IQ, if you guys recall, because I was sitting, I'll show you guys. I was sitting in, I had to go get some blood work done. And I was sitting in the office just waiting. And I thought, you know what, I'll bring that book, because usually when I have to go get blood work done, sometimes the lineup's pretty bad. So I thought, oh, you know what, I'm going to bring this book and I'm just going to read through it while I wait and kill some time. The key here is best loser wins. You have to accept that you are not going to win 100%. You have to accept that you are going to lose. The thing you have to also understand is within yourself, how much can you lose? We often look at people who are back testing and they're like, oh, my trade system, I have a 60% win rate. Someone else does it. Oh, I have a 50% win rate. Someone else does it. I have a 70% win rate. Okay, but here's the thing. And I say this before and I'll say it again. What people are not not understanding is, if you have a 60% win rate, if you have a 40% win rate, if you have a 50% win rate, can you lose 40% of the time, 50% of the time, 60% of the time? Can you lose 60% of the time and still keep your head on straight? So you have to find the threshold of how much losing will then start to create destruction and chaos. Because I thought I could trade with a 50% win rate, and I couldn't. I can't be wrong 50% of the time. I can't. So then it was like, you know, you get to 60%, and it's like, I'm still struggling with losing 40% of the time. Like I can't lose 40% of the time. It really hurts me. So when I started trading IFEGs, and I've shared how like this model can get you in the 70s and into the high 70s, sometimes even the 80s, that was much more manageable to me. Because what happens now is you stack wins and then you have losses that kind of randomly get thrown in there, which doesn't rattle me. But that's me. I'm speaking about my own experience with this. You yourselves have to figure that out for yourself. Like, I don't know how much you can lose. Like, I watched Matt lose. There was 1 year, maybe it was a year or so ago, and I watched him take a losing streak, and I think he hit like over five losses in a row, maybe six. Like, it was, I'd never seen him taking that many losses, but he kept showing up. He kept believing in what he was doing, in the model and his system, and eventually he turned those losses into a winning streak. And I was like, man, I learned something massive that day, which was you have to have confidence in your system and in yourself. And you have to be able to know that I can take X amount of losses in a row and I'll still be okay mentally. He was able to do that. Could I have done that? Probably not. Probably not. I don't have that mental discipline like he does and the patience. Like, he's on a whole other level, and that's why he's the GOAT. You know what I mean? That's why he's like our mentor, because he's able to do things that I can't do. You know what I mean? So that kind of stuff, it's not like I'm looking at that and I'm envious of it, or I have animosity or anything. What it is now it's like about inspiration. I can take inspiration from that. That can, like, when I think about things falling apart, I can think about what Matt did in those moments, right? And for you, you might have someone else that you can reflect on to think about, like, what would that person have done in this situation, right? So Slick says, I haven't journaled in a while. Funny enough, when I used to journal, I would have a much higher win rate. Laziness is a killer. Well, self-realization right there, You know what you got to do. Now you just got to do it. Vic says, definitely impatient since I trade while at work and being wrong for me. Yeah, once again, it's just the distraction side, right? Like, you can't be that distracted. Let me just go back to my... Okay. Surprised. Oh, yeah. We did get an alert here. So, apologies. I was skipping out on that. But here we go. We got New York High. I'm just going to flip gears here for a sec. Alice, what's up? Hardbowler says, and welcome, by the way, had a good anticipation for bullish move today. And my partner, Quest, I take her out. Irritated, I missed a good opportunity only for me to come back to the chart and got burnt. Yeah, I mean, it's like the theme, right? Like, if you can't dedicate your full attention, undivided attention to the market, then don't try to share it, Like, don't try to do that. You have to just give it, like, undivided attention. And the thing, too, is when you're not trading, you got to give the outside life your full attention. So, like, if that's taking care of yourself, going to the gym, maybe it's like, going on a date with your spouse or your partner, hanging out with your kids, right? Maybe it's another job you have. Like, just give whatever you do its full attention. Because if you're not able to, I think, in my opinion, once again, if you're not able to, like, truly dedicate yourself with the time that it needs to trade, then you really got to be careful, because that's where the mistakes happen. That's where, like, you step away, you get pulled away left, right, and center, and the next thing you know, you missed out on a bomb trade, right? So it's things like that. Okay, so I'm just looking at this setup. And it looks like we swept New York High and we swept the hourly buy side liquidity level. I'm looking at this 2-minute right here. Let me just adjust. Oh, I don't know why to set the stat map. Let's get this back to my normal setting. There we go. And I apologize if I've just been yapping a lot. There's been so much amazing things being shared here. I really appreciate everyone being honest and sharing. I think it's really healthy. I think it's very beneficial for the community. So I really appreciate you opening up, because I know it's not necessary and it's not mandatory or anything like that, right? So I really do appreciate that. And Hogroller says, I hate the fact that I say I won't trade on a certain day only to find myself clicking the button. This is like, trading is an addiction for most of us. You know what I mean? Like, we're addicted to the feeling of this whole process, the feeling of winning a trade. And then you're like, wow, I made X amount of money. Like, all that can become addictive if you're not careful, right? And I'm no different than you, man. Like, I find myself sometimes doing the same thing. You know, saying I'm not going to look at the chart, and then next thing you know, my phone's up because I'm waiting for my coffee to brew, and I'm like, oh, I got to kill some time. And I just subconsciously pull up a chart, and it's like I told myself I wasn't going to look at the chart. You know what I mean? Vidal's in the house. What's up? Congrats on your payout, bro. It's very inspiring to see. Very inspiring to see. So great job. Ashley says, oh, actually, hold on. Before we do that, yeah, Don, great message here. Trading without a plan can be dangerous. I totally agree. This is why when I show up to the market every day, the first thing I'm doing is before saying, you know, obviously saying good morning to everybody, but I'm looking at my higher time frame bias, right, for the narrative. I'm looking then at my New York levels for, my NQ levels for New York Open, right? And I share it. Like, for me, I have that kind of routine, right? I look at the news, right? Like, what's been happening on Financial Juice. So it's important to set out that plan. And then that way you're prepared. So like at 8:53, I already knew I got London high. I got the H1 and H4 buy side liquidity levels above me. Those are levels I'm going to look to short from. Guess what? We took that short right off of London high, exactly like the plan was. Did I know it was going to go there? Of course not. It could have easily gone down lower, but then I have a plan for that too. You know what I mean? So you got to have a plan. Highly agree with you there, man. That's really strong advice. SR says, how many years are you learning from Matt? I believe, you guys are going to laugh, but I think I started learning ICT properly from Matt, and it would have been a little over 2 years ago, maybe, or maybe 2 years. Actually, probably a little over 2 years. April 2024, I think. Honestly, it's only been 2 years for me. And it's been such a crazy journey. I mean, it's just been such a crazy journey. So let's go back to this 3 minute though, because I really think this is a nice setup. Probably might take it on eval actually. I mean, why not? Just gonna wait for NQ to confirm though. It is a nice setup. So I'm just going to set this up on my side quickly. Now, the thing with these kinds of setups is because it's a 3 minute setup, I personally don't like to front run a 3 minute setup. I want to wait for as much confirmation as I can get. Okay? I want to wait for that candle to close. But this is great because if you look to the left, we have LRLR here, right? There's no FEGs, no imbalances. We have the daily EQ right here. We got a nice sweep of all of this liquidity that got built here. Like, this is pretty good. What happens next, no one knows. It's out of our control. But we know what's happening here, and we can see that there is some valid criteria to the model here. So just going to wait to see how this closes. Apologies, I'm just setting something up on my other screen. So if I'm looking at this, I would be looking for maybe so like when we look at these kinds of IFEGs, right? So let's just mark this off quickly. So if we're looking at in terms of size, we got about 14 points, so that's good, double digits. You'll notice I have a line here. The reason I have a line here is because I like to set an alert to fire off the second the candle closes below. Because if I'm taking the trade on MNQ, that's fine, but I need my confirmations to happen off of the NQ chart. Okay, so now we're back to another 3 minutes. And, you know, this is part of the this is part of the puzzle of trading the 3-minute, right? Like anything can happen in these 3 minutes here, right? Like you're seeing price do this now, right? Anything can happen. But I think it's important to just wait. If we go to the 2-minute, we can see how much time. There's 1 minute, 19 seconds. And if we go to the 1 minute, there's about 15 seconds, right? So I'm not really worried about this because, like I said, the setup is based off the 3-minute, not the 1 minute, not the 2-minute. So I'm just going to wait. Yeah, you know, stop loss placements are going to be tricky. So if I was looking at this for stop loss placement, I mean, the way I learned, you know, from some of the greats, they keep their stop loss pretty tight. So they're looking at like, you know, 20 points, maybe a little bit higher, 25. And then you can tell that this is, you know, if price starts to really go their way, this is where they amp up the RR, right? But if you're kind of still on the fence about things, like you can use, you know, a stop loss at the top of this candle, for example. Right now, it does increase or double the position size or your risk from 20 something to 45 points, right? But you're targeting down here anyways. Just another alternative, right? We talked about this before, right? You got the swing high, you got using kind of like some market structure. I see that there's like a volume imbalance here. So, I mean, anything's possible here with the price. And these candlesticks are pretty, have been pretty big. So, but you can see like what's happening here, right? This is why I like to wait because you never know what price is going to do. Is it going to reverse? Like you don't want to front run a 3-minute setup when there's still 2 minutes to go on the candle, right? It's not like the 1 minute where I'll front run it if it's in the last like within in the final like 20 seconds or so. I can front run and take that chance. I never do that with the 2 minute and the 3 minute unless it's really showing strength to go lower. So let's just see how this goes. There's 20 seconds, but you know it's reversing. Let's look at also ES and NQ side by side because it's always important to know what ES is doing. So 8 seconds. You can see that it also has a stack gap here. Ashley says, Kira, would you ever take a setup if it's given before 1:30, so 1 p.m.? The thing for me is, like, I don't really take PM trades, to be honest with you, anymore. What I've learned is stay away from lunchtime. And, I mean, the New York kill zone in the PM session, from what it looks like, has been, anytime I look to figure out, like, what are people, like, what is the defined kill zone for the PM? It's always 1:30. Everything is showing 1:30. So I just feel like even if you like look at the chart here, look at all this chop in between lunchtime, right? So after 11 and then all of this is lunchtime. And then literally at 1:30 is when things start to pick up again. So I think even looking at this, it's showing you the importance of why 1:30 is a very valuable time to just wait, because you don't want to get caught in that lunchtime trap, like the lunchtime traps. And that's just my opinion from what I've seen. I highly recommend just do your due diligence and look for yourself. But for me, I think it's best to just wait. It's no different than waiting for 9:30, right? Like we know 9:30 is a valid open, right? Because we look at it all the time and we've seen the proven volatility that is injected into the market at that time, right? And there you go, Tracy. Tracy says, I think I heard ICT say that the algos turn back on at 1:30 p.m. So, I mean, hey, if ICT's saying it, like, who are you going to listen to? Like, you don't have to listen to me. Listen to him, right? That one man single-handedly changed, you know, the trading world forever. And it's not even, like, about creating anything. It's just about repackaging things that make sense for all of us, right? Because we're a new breed of traders. We're a new generation of traders. Like, we're not going to relate to these people from the 80s and the 70s and even earlier, even though some of these concepts may have come from a long, long time ago. It may not make sense the way it was told to us, right? Or the way we read it in these books. ICT's done a great job of repackaging it. And now, of course, whatever's happening in the future, and there's new terms and new this and that coming out, that's a whole other bag of worms. You know what I mean? Okay, so we got 33 seconds. I mean, hey, if this can confirm it's worth a shot, is there any SMT? So it does not look like there's SMT there. I wonder if there's SMT with YM. Let's check. Whoops. No, it doesn't look like there's anything with YM either on the top here. So, and like I said, you know, having that SMT is, it's like icing on the cake, you know, like having that. I wonder if there's anything off the 1 minute here. Let's take a look. No. So no SMT. That's fine. Slick says, how many wicks into the FEG before it becomes a wash trade? I mean, this is like the intuition part, right? Like, it's subjective. I have an indicator, the 2 degrees indicator, IVG Pro Plus. Like, it has a specific limit, I think, where it has to confirm within so many candles before it also deems the trade invalid. But I can't tell you how many times I've taken a trade, even though the indicator has, you know, not confirmed the entry, so to speak, and I've still taken it. And because I believe that I felt like there's good enough reaction, good enough momentum to take it, right? Now, granted, I'm on the 3 minutes, so I'm not going to go any higher. Like, if this can't confirm, you know, soon, you know, the probability of that setup, in my opinion, becomes less interesting. Or we could even say it becomes a higher risk, right? So you might want to lower your actual risk. But seeing the way this is playing out, right? Like if we go to the 1 minute or the 2 minute, I mean, there's still hope for this trade. So here's the 2 minute setup. 2 minute actually looks better than the 1 minute or than the 3 minutes. So I'm actually going to shift to the 2 minute and use that instead, because I like the size of that FVG better. So let's shift it to the 2 minute. Same low, but what happens now is we don't have to wait for that extra minute. Right? We can enter off the 2 minute. And of course we'll observe the 3 minute to see that it also closes, right? But if we're setting this up on the 2 minute, then it is what it is. Stop loss wise, I mean, this gets a little tricky. You could set it right now, like up here, maybe 40 points, something like that, targeting like these lows down here. Okay, minute and 20. Let's see what we get. Check the 50 minute. It's shown almost all FEGs are completed. Yeah, let's take a look. And I'm assuming you mean like to the downside, right? Like all of these have been like swept or whatever. Is that what you're talking about? So it's basically it's a singular setup. Yeah, perfect. Thanks for sharing that. Okay, so this is the 3 minute. Let's go back to the 2 minutes. So we got 43 seconds. My alert on that line will trigger if price closes below that level. So it's up to you what you want to do. If you want to watch, if you want to take the trade, if you don't want to take the trade, if you want to, like, whatever, the risk is on you, of course. You got to do what you got to do. But whatever you do, just manage your risk accordingly. Okay, that's all I'm going to say. So they're really going to make us wait, eh? Once again, if anyone has any questions, just drop it in the chat and we'll work through it. Just going back through the chat, Slick said the win streaks keep the mental durable. MFFU's most profitable trader. I mean, everybody likes to win, right? Nobody likes to lose, so it makes sense. We can also check the 1 minute too, just to see if we do get that close. So 19 seconds for the 1 minute, and then another minute to close that 2 minute. So let's just keep an eye on the 1 minute for a second, see if it does get some closures. If we get that closure, because if we get that first minute closure, might be tipping us, telling us that there's a potential that we might get another another candle closure. But that one didn't close, so now this next one is going to be the one, right? Because it's going to be the 2 minute. So we can observe it on the 1 minute, but we know it's a 2 minute. Let's just see what happens here. So if I was to like place a stop loss, I mean, you could do something like this. You could do something like this. It's up to you how you want to do it. For me personally, like, because I am trading it on the 2 minute. I think I'm just going to keep my stop loss up here for now. Just keep it at 40 points, just because of the size of these candles. I just want to actually measure the size of this for a second. So it's 24.5 points. Okay, that's not bad. But look at this, man. Can't front run. Can't front run. You got to wait. Look at this. Wow, they're really, really making us wait. Today, I got to be honest with you guys. Today has not been the smoothest price action. And I feel like all week it's been kind of like this. You know what I mean? It's been like this all week. This is why I've been just like happily taking my 1R and getting out of there, you know? All this is out of context. If you're not reading books, you got to start doing that. Trading in the zone, changed my idea about these markets. 100%, man. There's tons of great books out there. I'm just looking at my collection, and I mean, some books that really did a lot of you know, good stuff for me, besides Best Loser Wins, was Think and Grow Rich, Rich Dad Poor Dad. I think I have another book by Kiyosaki called Cash Flow Quadrant. And then I also have some other books on like Japanese candlesticks, which is what we're using here, just understanding concepts behind those. I found some help with that too. But let's go back to the chart here. So we got 1 minute left there, 1 minute left here. Let's see what we get. Yeah, that book, Trading in the Zone, I've actually just been like listening to that randomly as like you know, like the podcast idea or like a audiobook. I've been finding that to be very helpful. Excuse me. Okay, we got some seconds to go here. Yes, also dropping. Once again, you know, just wait for that confirmation. Hopefully it doesn't run away on us here. Okay, so it closed. So let's see what happens now, right? The rest is out of our hands. We've done our due diligence, and we just got to let the price go where it's going to go. Let me turn this off. So the indicator's marking it as a setup. So I got it set here at like 1.22, but let's just set it for 1R for now. So if you want to take it 1R trade, if you want to take skim profits, if you want to hold, like, this is all up to you to decide how you want to take these types of trades, how you want to manage things that way. I mean, for me personally, like I said, you guys know how I trade. I rock the 1R, and that's typically my mode. That's what I like to do. But everyone's different. Hopefully this thing will go down. I might hold a little bit lower. We'll see, but let's see what we get. This is probably my first live trade with you guys, I think. Like, actually, where I'm actually taking, or I'm actually taking the trade, maybe. Maybe I did already. I can't remember. I know I've shared some trades before, but we never really watched the market like this, I think. I'm not liking the way this candle's looking right there, though. That's not a good candle for us. Hopefully, it will dip lower, but that looks like a lot of buying pressure. Oh, boy. We just need like a flash dump or something, right? So show of hands, who's in the trade? Who's in the trade? Slick says, one thing about the 1 hour trades is I like to place my TP as liquidity, whether that be swings or FEGs, and sometimes those 1 hour TPs aren't near any of those. However, it is definitely higher probability keeping it 1 hour. Yeah, I mean, drawn liquidity is everything, right? But sometimes it's not about being perfect. Sometimes it's just about calculating that risk. So like if I've made a risk where I'm risking $500, whether like I don't need to worry about it hitting drawn liquidity if it's beyond where my 1R is, right? If my goal is just to get $500, then take the $500, right? If your goal is to skim profits or wait for that drawn liquidity, well, that's a different type of risk management, right? But that has to be part of your plan. So like right now, price is dipping pretty deep. You could move your stop loss to break even. It's up to you. You could just hold on and wait because technically, let's see here. I mean, there's this level here, but it's pretty close to the price. Look at that buyback. But I don't see any other liquidity except for down here. It just seems like this is a great area for profit taking. And then, of course, you have the daily EQ down there, right? Which could work as a another, distant target potentially. But I would actually just like to see these levels down here get tagged out, hopefully. But this is my 1R technically. If I was to kind of measure how I would have traded this, so it technically hasn't hit it, came close. And then look at that buyback, crazy. So I'm probably going to move my stop loss to break even, I think, just to play it safe. Only because it did sweep some level of liquidity. But I'm going to manually keep an eye on this one. Okay, there we go. There we go. I like that. Yep, there we go. Keep going. Come on. Bobby's out with 1R. Okay, look at you. Look at you. What a rock star. Well done. I'm glad we got some. I mean, I'm glad the price is going in the right direction. That's good. Have I ever played with trailing stops? I have, but the risk management involved on that is stressful to me. So this is why I just want to get 1R and I want to get out. I think that wick would have been a nice area to take that profit, but I mean, you can see the liquidity here, right? Like, but today, what seems obvious has not been working out, obviously, except for like a couple of trades. But after that daily EQ long that we saw, things have not been working properly, and maybe this trade might be one of them, right? So, see what happens. The other thing too I noticed for sometimes with these types of trades is like they go down, they go back to entry, and then they really rip lower. That's another possibility, but I'm not really a fan of how these candles are closing. So if you did have your stop loss at break even, you've probably been tagged out now. If you're just going with a ride or die approach, you're still in. Proper invalidation would be a close beyond the IFEG here. Okay. But we'll keep watching this. And it doesn't matter what I'm doing, right? Like, we're talking this through. It matters what you're doing and what you feel comfortable with. Bobby says, here's the most important thing for me is that I have still not even looked at my dollar amount. I was totally focused on the process. Well done, man. All it says, we out. Yeah, I mean, obviously you wanted this to just sweep lower. Slick says, your candle colors have always confused me at first glance. Yeah, I'm a bit backwards, right? Because most people have the dark color candlesticks going down. But truth be told, I tried to do that and it didn't work for me. I had to inverse them. This made sense to me. My eyes couldn't connect what was going on. Okay, NQ, what do you got? You going up? You going down? What's it going to be? I'm a rebel. Yeah, you know what? I am a rebel, man. I am a rebel. I was a punk rocker growing up, so, I mean, always going against the grain, you know? But now I'm like an adult, so... If you guys ever watch this movie, it's an older movie, but it's called SLC Punk, Salt Lake City, SLC Punk. Literally my story. Without being a lawyer or anything, but I mean, literally my story in a way. My brother, it's funny enough, is more SLC Punk than me because he actually became a lawyer, so. And he was a proper punk rocker, so. All right, come on, NQ. Let's get to 1R. 653.5. So it's right there. That's 1R. Let's mark it. Let's set an alert on it. Finest is out 1R because my stop is at the gap. Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad it worked out for you, man. I'm glad we got a trade today, honestly. I'm glad something, showed up. For real. Sometimes it doesn't happen, right? So another thing to talk about is the trade management aspect, right? We can formulate this trade and plan it and then trade the plan. And then once the price is, once you're in the trade and you're waiting to see how it's going to turn out, you see how price went back to the stop loss there, or sorry, not the stop loss. Price went back to entry. It's kind of chopping. This is where, as a trader, you start to experience the emotions of trading, right? You start experiencing panic. You start experiencing FOMO, right? All types of different things. Anxiety, self-doubt creeps in. But I think it's important in these moments where you got to just completely have faith in what's happening and just trade what's in front of you and just like if I know this is 1R, then that's 1R. If I know the liquidity is here, then I know that's the liquidity draw, right? So price already dipped lower, went back to stop or went back to entry, and now it's going a little bit lower, right? This to me seems like a potential place where you could now say, okay, you know what? I will move my stop loss to break even potentially because you don't know what's going to happen, right? Is this the chance for price to go lower? Should it be going back up? If it goes back up, is there a chance that it's going to, take me out of my or go to stop loss if I don't move my stop loss to break even? These are the types of things you have to kind of gauge for yourself and decide for yourself, because I can't push the button for you. As you all know, you can only push the button for yourself, right? Now, some of you have already taken TP. You probably had a tighter stop loss than what I got marked up on the chart there. And that's good. You're out. Yeah, take care, Slick. Peace out, man. So, I mean, obviously what I'd like to see is this thing just rip lower, sweep the liquidity, and then that's the end of it, right? But price can do whatever it wants. And they couldn't give us a 30-second trade, huh? So some buying pressure now coming in. Let's see what's happening on the 1 minute. Yeah, it's looking pretty strong there, eh? Unless it starts to roll over. I mean, this is another thing too. It's like if you take the trade on the 2 minute or 3 minute, you could still observe it on the 1 minute. But what happens with analyzing on the 1 minute is it starts to distort your sense of reality on the trade, because you took the trade based off of structure on a 2 minute chart, and the 1 minute obviously is much more chaotic, and that chaoticness can create panic. It can create FOMO. So you have to figure out if you're able to handle monitoring the asset on a lower time frame or on the time frame that you took the trade on, or a combination of both, right? But I'm not liking that it went back up. I mean, obviously I wanted to see this come down and go lower, right? And just sweep this, and then if it was going to come back. But today, like I said, it's been doing a lot of funny things. Oh, there we go. Boom. Out. Let's go. Woohoo! All right. Love it. Wow. Thank God we got a spike. Thank God. That was amazing. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So who caught that? Who caught that? Who caught that? We did it again. Look at that. We did it again. We did it again, folks. Did it again. And look at that, man. It just like froze. Froze in time. It's a good setup. That was a really... Oh, man. Look at that meme. Evil, finest. Evil, buddy. Oh, man. I don't know if you're trolling me or not now, bro. What the hell? Sapchip's still in the short. Oh, man. Well, here's the thing. I told you guys, right? Like, I want to see liquidity taken, and it actually it didn't even take the liquidity there. It just kind of swept this liquidity, but that was a harsh drop. I wonder what news. Oh, here we go. Of course there's news. Of course 1339. We will not reach a conclusion if we try to delve into details related to highly enriched uranium in Iran. Oh my God. Look at that. But hey, 1R, plan the trade the plan. Seriously. That's it. Trade's done. Like, trade's done. At least the trade's done for me. And I stuck to my plan. I told you guys in real time. I said, we didn't sweep liquidity here, so if you wanted to move your stop loss to break even, you could. I also said a lot of times the price likes to return back to entry and then completely roll back over. And I did say liquidity wasn't even taken. So when price went down over here, that's when I said, I wouldn't want to see price come back up here because it should be rolling over, right? We already came back and took liquidity. We should be coming back and taking opposing liquidity. So it faked out a little bit up here, and then maybe it was news driven. I have no idea, because this is saying 1404 and the news over here is saying 1339. So it's like, what was the delay in that dump, right? But hey, congrats to everybody that took that trade. I mean, we got to do this live today, so I'm really, really excited that that happened. It's also a little nerve-wracking trading live in front of everybody. I'll be honest with you guys. But hey, Zanu's out here eating popcorn. Yeah, and I apologize if I'm a little bit euphoric. It's just, like I said, I'm on stream doing this. This is the first time I think I've ever taken a live trade like this properly. So I'm just happy that you guys are here with me. I'm happy and grateful that you took the trade. You guys won. Nobody should be red. Nobody should be red now. Nobody should be red. And let me just take a snap of what I did. And then you guys can see what I did. Just so you guys know. I'll just show you guys on the screen here. So this was me. See where I took the TP? Right on my 1R. So I also took the trade, folks. I also took the trade. And let's share it. Let us share this trade. Wow. Yeah, that meme is pretty funny, man. That is just crazy. Yeah, but hey, happy Friday. A perfect way to end the week, for sure. SR says, I trade micro ES, learning the unicorn model here. I'm not good at this model in the 1 to 3 minute, but I believe I'm able to see it better in the 5. Today I got one of the best, but since it was not in the New York game session, I let it pass. What's your experience and suggestion on such trades? So, I mean, you're trading a unicorn, and for me, the unicorn, like, ideally you want to take that in the New York session, AM. It's not to say it can't work in the PM, but I think the probabilities start to sink. Also, for me, the IFVG is just the way. Like, to me, the IFVG is the holy grail of entry models. And I think once you kind of like figure it out, learn it, understand it, get comfortable with it, you'll start to understand and reap the benefits of it. And I'm noticing a lot of you that didn't trade this thing before and are now trading it, and I'm watching you guys crush it, which tells me you are comfortable with it or getting comfortable with it, but you are starting to understand what that success feels like trading an IFVG. I'm not gonna lie, it took me a long time to get comfortable with IFVG trading and to get back to the 1 minute chart, because it was really complicated for me. It was like really tough, but you got to keep persevering. You got to keep working at it. You're gonna keep failing, but you gotta pick yourself back up, you know? Xanu, man, next time you gotta take it with us, okay? You gotta take it. Not financial advice, though. Not financial advice. But anyways, oh, Phoenix, what's up? Phoenix, the OG. My God. That's another. So Phoenix and I, we actually started trading the IFVG last year together with EMC. You guys probably know him, Eat More Chicken. And then there's a couple other of us. But yeah, I know we were all kind of studying and learning this thing together a while ago. But yeah, Phoenix, shout out to you. Thanks. Appreciate the comment. Yeah, Xanu, if it's a stop loss, you can sue me. But be careful, man. I'm going to write your name in the death note, okay? Be careful. Anyone have any questions on this trade? Oh, appreciate. Actually, I'm really happy to hear that, Bobby. Seriously, yeah, it did the same for me too. You know, like I think learning foundationally about IFEG, or sorry, the ICT concepts was the stepping stone, but the IFEG just literally is where everything I learned just like unlocked itself, right? Like all the doors opened once I started to really understand the IFEG. And once again, we made the plan and we followed the plan. Sometimes the best things take time, right? Like, now who's still in this trade? Out of curiosity, who's still in this trade? I gotta share this. I gotta share this on Discord, man. Hopefully you guys can like it or share about it or something. I don't know what you guys want to do, but let's share it, man. Caught this W on the PM stream with the gang. Apologies for the caps, but maybe I'm sorry, not sorry. Just put it also in my stream here. Nice. W plus 1R. And once again, I'm going to drop it. But remember I said this, no fear. Gotta be fearless. You're gonna win, you're gonna lose. But when you win, have confidence, have no fear. If you're gonna lose, if you do lose, same thing. Still have the same confidence and have no fear. Alright? Finest says, off topic, but if you ever thought about making your own community that's not free, you could definitely do it, my guy. Just letting you know, one of the realists out there. Oh, Finest, man. God bless you, man. Honestly, God bless you. It's a really nice thing to say, man. I really appreciate that. And truth be told, it's not like there's thousands of people here, right? Watching these streams. Honestly, there's not. There's probably maybe 20 to 50 people maybe that I can see watch live streams and the replays, and obviously I can see how many people are in the chat now. I love the fact that it's a very close-knit community that we have here, and sometimes learning how to trade properly and just learning how to be successful, you need a small group, right? And my ambition isn't to do that, my ambition is actually to just be here with all these cool cats, and there's good people here, and I'm hoping that I keep attracting that type of professionalism and that quality of people. I've never hid my devotion with Christ, and I still bring that to the forefront, and if it resonates with some, that's great. If it doesn't, that's also fine. But I'm not going to hide, I said this earlier, right? To me, actually, I'll show you. I have no problem talking about it. I feel like God's been taken out of a lot of things in our world that doesn't make sense to me. I feel like God has to be in everything we do. And for me, I've had back and forth, and I think when I've kind of fully surrendered myself with Christ, and I think that's when the whole thing flipped. Honestly, the whole thing flipped, and I'll say it here, many people use trading models or systems or mentors as their quote unquote cheat code. But to me, the best and the biggest cheat code I have in my life is Jesus Christ, honestly. And I take that cheat code everywhere I go. So I'm using that, and I just want to help everybody. I just want to see everyone have success. I want to see everyone progress. We're all going to have times of hardship. We're all going to have times of greatness. And of course, there's a whole lot of stuff in between. But we're all going to do it together. And I think that's kind of the point with, a lot of the lessons I've learned. And I'm still learning about the Bible. I'm still learning about things as I go. I'm not saying I know everything, because I don't. But what I do know is I know Christ is with me in anything I do. And I make sure always give glory to Jesus, because without Jesus, things become hard. All of this has become easy to me. I say easy, but you get what I mean, right? There's a lot of things I've also been granted, and I don't take it for granted. Like I've been gifted a lot of things, and I don't take it for granted. It could be winning accounts. It could be having opportunities to do streams like this. I don't take it for granted. I don't take it lightly. I don't care if there's 5 people in here, 20 people in here, 50 people. It doesn't matter to me how many people are here. My whole thing is just be honest and try to share as much happiness and peace and knowledge as I can. I'm not going to hold back, But my goal is just, like I said, I just want to see all of you succeed and get to where you want to get to. And our journeys are all different. So wherever your journey is, my goal is just to help you get to wherever you're trying to get to, and play a small role in your journey. That's it. If I start seeing you successful and doing things like that, straight up, that is the best gift I could be given. I don't need money. I don't need anybody to pay me, But once again, Finest, I really appreciate the vote of confidence, though. I think that goes a long way, So I appreciate that. Thank you so much. And, there's a lot of you dropping comments and stuff here right now. And God bless you. Seriously. Jackbit says, sometimes you win, sometimes you learn. Losing is part of learning, and success is failure turned inside out. Wow. Now that is a deep, deep message. You should put that on a wall. Frame it. I love that. Barry, what's up? Barry says, the best lesson which I learned is to trust your system, not the money. God bless you, brother. Yeah, God bless you too, man. And once again, what's more important in this world, God or money? So we know it's God. So focus on process. Focus on inner confidence. If you're failing, if you're losing, that's okay. It's just like Jackbit said, right? Losing is part of learning, and success is failure turned inside out. Keep at it. Ask God for help, man. That's what I did. Towards the end of last year, I was looking at my journal, and I've said this before. I was trading a different model, and I was still always looking at IFEGs, but I just was so depressed about my trading, and that's when I had like a crisis moment, and I'm sure we've all had those moments where, I asked the man upstairs for help. I was like, you have to take the wheel here. I can't do this myself. And I put that on him, and I've never looked back. And I'm not saying I've not made mistakes in these past 5 months, because I have, but what I'm saying is things have become way easier. Process has become easier. System has become easier. Opportunity has become easier. I'm not carrying it on my back like, rocks in a backpack. There's no more rocks really in my backpack. I'm sure, we're all human. We all carry a little bit of rocks in our backpack, but not like what it used to be. I appreciate you, level 10. Yeah, I think it's just I've gotten to a point where I have nothing. I have no shame in my surrender and devotion. And, I know a lot of people don't like to mix things. And I think even when I first joined the Discord, I wasn't mixing a lot of those things, but I think it got to a point where it's like I can't not be me, you know? I can't not be who I am. And if I'm going to be who I am, especially in these like intimate settings where, you know, I am very vulnerable in these settings, right? Like I'm talking a lot, I'm showing you guys so many things. I have to be everything I am. Otherwise, like, I'm going to be lying to myself. So, and like I said, man, I want to reach people who are like, you know, like me, like us, you know. I want to reach people like us and speak to, you know, speak to and speak with, because I'm also listening to you guys too, right? Like, it's not just me talking and you listening. Like, I'm listening to you guys too, man. Like, I'm just like you guys. I'm not any different, you know? Oh, thanks for sharing that, SR. Thank you, man. Appreciate you too. Jackbit. Oh, there's some good study material now. We're going to have like a Bible study group here at some point. That'll be like another live stream, right? Imagine that. Actually, you know, that would be pretty sick, man. Honestly, that would be really sick. I'm always up for spiritual development, spiritual alignment, spiritual growth. There's always so much to learn and so much to kind of teach us about, just like Phoenix said here, right? Being humble. Sometimes we forget what that is. And sometimes it takes reading a passage or, you know, some sort of a verse or something to kind of pull us back into alignment, right? So thanks, Phoenix. Yeah. Oh, John Delar, what's up? That's a really nice thing to say too, man. We trade together, we bank together, we pray together. 100%, man. 100%. 100%. So, okay. So, I think it's pretty cool that price swept liquidity here. Well, kind of swept liquidity. I don't even know if it did really. Did it? Not really. But look at where my 1R line is drawn. And look at where price continues to respect. Can it go lower? Of course it can go lower. But I just find it remarkable that that level was a key level. And all I did was I just looked to the left here and I used this candle right here as my stop loss. So that's about 39.5 points. Mirror that 39.5 points to the opposite side. And like I said to you guys in other lives, I know I like to say, oh, well, this is what I said before, but I only say this because I wanted to drive it home and I want you to, you know, take some time and maybe listen to old live streams and you'll hear me say the same things. But I am someone who doesn't like to take profit at the exact level. And there's a reason why I don't like to do that. Because if I had wanted to take TP right here, right? Let's say I had a limit order set right at that line here, okay? Let me just draw this line out for you. Okay? See that dotted line in black? If I had set my TP down here, instead of just following 1R, this thing would have front run my TP and gone all the way back up. And yeah, it did go back lower, but guess what? It still hasn't hit that level yet. And I would still be in this trade with anxiety, being nervous, not knowing what's going to happen. My stop loss is at break even. Is it going to stop me out? My point of this is, I said this before, I like to take profit before anyone else takes profit. I want to take profit before that liquidity is hit because I don't need to be perfect. Right? I don't need to be perfect. I just want to make sure I'm right. You know what I'm saying? I just want to make sure I'm right. And when I saw price do what it's doing and it hits that 1R, that's the proof I need that I'm right. And I don't have to be perfect. So like if a trade is going to run and go 5R or 2R or whatever the R's are, that's okay because you don't need all of that, right? It's just like people that hoard food. Like you don't need that much food, bro. You don't need that much food. Take what you need and give the rest to the person to the person next to you or the person in need. You know what I'm saying? There's enough to go around. There's enough to go around. Take your share and move along. Be humble. Don't be greedy. And I only say this in this way because it's personal experience. I have completely shit the bed being greedy, and then people taking profit before me, and then I never get to take profit. And I came from crypto where there's rug pulls galore. And I used to see this so much. And I think once I started learning more about ICT in the past couple of years with Matt, and obviously, like I said, I'm really inspired by how Matt trades. It just taught me, like, you don't need to be perfect. You're already perfect as you are. Just need to be right. More times than you're wrong. SR says, when you have some time, can you kindly share how to look for the setup, what IFEGs exactly where to look at in a very basic way for a newbie like me? Brother, I set this trade up for you. I'm not sure when you joined the live stream. I thought you showed up earlier. But I set this trade up exactly like how I would have set it up if I wasn't on stream. I showed you the level. I said I'm waiting for this to get swept. Xanu, appreciate you, brother. Have a good weekend. And yeah, you know what? I'll be back on Monday for another live stream, so that'll be fun. You joined at the start, SR? Okay, perfect. Thanks for reminding me. I apologize if I forgot. But once again, you know, like, I mean, even if we just look at this, originally I had been looking at this on the 3-minute, remember? So the second price sweeps liquidity off this candlestick. All I'm doing now is I'm waiting to see FVGs form. And the second an FVG starts to form, that's when I will start to know that we have a potential IFVG in place. So if I go do this, it should show this level here. There it is. Okay. And let me just adjust the indicator to only reflect that setup. Okay. So once the FVG starts to show up, I'm then just looking to see the size of the IFVG. And I often talk about how I want to see, you know, double digits is ideally the best. I usually say like 5 points minimum to like sometimes 30 to 40 points. But when you see like over 10 points and under 30, like 20s, that's perfect. That's a perfect size IFVG. Now this is 14 points, right? So I originally identified this on the 3-minute, and then we were waiting at the 3-minute, and then I went to the 2-minute, right? And that's when I noticed that the 2-minute actually had a better IFVG setup, because this is a 24.5 point setup. And what's really interesting is if you look at when price decided to move down, it's on the confirmation of the 2-minute. If we look at the confirmation on the 3-minute, look at how much lower it is. We got a way better entry by looking at the 2-minute than the 3-minute. Okay? So if you're new trying to understand this, I know going through the time frames like 1 to 2 to 3 minute is going to be hard. It's an adjustment. You have to get used to it. What you can do in those scenarios is just watch one time frame. And if something happens, something happens. And then when you start to feel more comfortable, you can then start to move to another time frame and start comparing the 2-minute to the 3-minute to the 1-minute. The goal here is you want to see a beautiful sweep, good reaction off of the higher time frame level. You want to see strong momentum through the IFEG or through the FEG to confirm the IFEG, right? And then when you want to see the draw on liquidity, it has to be clear. You don't want to see imbalances stacked up against you here, right? Because that's what makes the trade non-singular. When you look at this setup, it's singular. And I had mentioned this. I said this is a perfect condition because there's no FEGs. We have pure LRLR. We have lots of liquidity here for price to reach to. And look, it's now even going lower, which is great because all this is doing now is confirming the read. If you can show up to a chart, map out the trade before it happens, and anticipate where it's going to go, you have learned how to fish. And I showed you guys how I do it, and now we're watching it play out, right? We're watching it play out. And it doesn't have to perfectly go here or there. It just has to go to the intended direction, which was, in this case, down, right? Now, some people will trade this and not take 1R. They might skim profits, move the stop loss to break even, take some more profit maybe if price allows it to go lower, and then maybe fully close the trade at, say, the daily EQ, something like that, right? That's a completely different risk management system. What I've learned for myself is the 1R trades yield the highest results. And I told you at the beginning, I can't lose 40% of the time. I can't lose 50% of the time. I can't lose 60% of the time. I can lose 30% of the time. I can lose 25 or 20% of the time. So I need a high win rate. This model gives me that high win rate. And I appreciate you too, SR. And I'm happy to have you, man. Yeah, I'm going to keep doing this for as long as I can keep doing this. Jackbit, oh wow, look at that. My 5-point takeaway for today's live stream. Sorry for my poor handwriting. Now posted on my screen to always be reminded. So if you don't know, I mean, anyone who's listening to the live stream, I just say go back to the chat so you can see. But the note says, before you trade, number 1, what time is it? Number 2, did you check the news? Number 3, do you have a plan? 4, prep work first. 5, no plan, no trade. Yeah, I love it. You gotta create these kinds of systems for yourself. That's kind of my point to all this. Like, you have, like, what you do is not going to be what I do, but you have to find a way to create some sort of a system for yourself that keeps you in check and that keeps you aligned with when, like, how to take an A+ trade and when to stay out of the trade when it's not A+. Okay, so today, you know what, we were going to talk about IFVGs and stuff like that, but this trade setup happened, and I think there's just an excellent opportunity to learn with live price action if it gives. And, you know, with these afternoon streams, we're going to keep doing this. As long as price keeps showing us stuff like this, we'll take these trades. I am going to put more priority on this. So if you ever want to look at previous trades that have been taken where I'm not on stream or whatever, you already know it's in my daily trading chat. Go back through there, read everything. I post like crazy in there, like nonstop, because I'm just literally dumping everything that I'm thinking in my head. So it's like I'm basically on live stream, but I'm texting it all to you guys. Okay? So check that out. Read the play-by-plays. If you have questions, you can DM me. I'm always available to answer your questions. Or you can drop messages in the Gen chat and just tag me. Whatever is, you know, whatever is good for you is good for me. So, anyone have any other questions or anything? Because otherwise, I think my work here is done. As that meme I've been sharing. But I appreciate every single one of you. Honestly, I appreciate all of you. I'm really, really proud of everybody that was able to be here today and take something away from this. I mean, I'm just like you guys, but I think what I mean by that is just like you're here for this massive session that we've been doing, and it's clear like you're here because you want to learn. You're clear because you want to, you know, get to a different place, right? You're on your journey. You're trying to get to that next place. It's not better or worse or anything like that. It's just you're trying to get to that next place. And I really appreciate you being here. And honestly, like stay with it. If you're having a hard time, just stay with it. Take a breather, take a break, reset, do something that's good for you. I find often when I've had a really bad day, I just go outside for a walk, and I'll take a walk to the coffee shop, you know, and that walk is like 15, 20 minutes. And then I'm at the coffee shop and I'm already feeling better. And then I got to walk back, right? But fresh air, being out with nature is God's gift to us, honestly. That is the best way to connect. Thanks, Tracy. Appreciate you. SR, appreciate you as well. Yeah. Oh, and it's a long weekend. I forgot. Yeah, Monday there's no trading. Well, I think trading is open till 1 from what I saw. I think Apex said the market's open until 1 p.m. Eastern, but I don't know what I'm going to do. I will be live streaming regardless, though, so you can count on me there, and then that way we can at least go back through older IFEGs. You know what I'm saying? Hardwiller, appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. And I appreciate that you're listening while you're working. I mean, that means a lot, man, that I'm worth your time, so that's awesome. Jackbit, yeah, I appreciate you, man. Thanks so much for what you're doing as well. And may God bless all you guys. Seriously. Saption, peace out. All right, folks. Well, have a great weekend. And I'll be back on Monday, 1 p.m. And I'm wishing you nothing but the best. And I'm going to go back, Jackbit. I'm going to look at those the Bible study stuff you got there. So, haven't forgotten. EC, peace out, man. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. Thanks. Steve O, peace out, brother. Thank you.